Right now, somewhere near you, there may be an animal that knows your face. Not the shape of a person. Your face, specifically, told apart from every other face it has ever seen. You may have never noticed it looking. You almost certainly don't remember the moment it learned you. But somewhere in a small brain, very unlike yours, you have already been filed away. We move through the world assuming we are the ones doing the watching. The dog across the room. The crow on the wire. The sheep in the field you drive past without a second thought. We watch them, and we assume that on the other side there is nothing really watching back. That to them, we are just a shape. A vague, interchangeable thing called human. That assumption is wrong, and the science that proves it is stranger and quieter, and a little more unsettling than almost anyone expects. This video is going to walk you through what a sheep, a dog, a crow, a horse, and a goat are actually doing when they look at your face. What they can measure about you that you never agreed to give them. And stay until the end, because the last animal we cover is the one that changes the whole story. It has no reason on earth to know you. It may do it better than any of them. Welcome back. Subscribe if this is the kind of thing you want to keep thinking about. Start with the animal we trust least to notice anything at all. A sheep. Picture the face we hang on sheep without thinking. Placid. Blank. A creature that seems to live entirely in the next mouthful of grass that looks up at you with what we assume is nothing behind the eyes. Now put that sheep in front of two photographs of two human faces and watch what it does. It chooses the right one. Not by luck reliably, learned the familiar face picked out from the stranger. And here's the part that should stop you. Turn that face to a different angle. Tilt it. Rotate it. Show it a version the sheep has never seen. And the sheep still knows it. That is not memorizing a flat picture. That is holding onto an identity and carrying it across angles, the same hard problem your own brain solves when you recognize a friend turned half away in a crowd. A small flock of sheep working through it in a lab at Cambridge. Now the honest part, because it matters. When that study came out, the headline was that sheep recognize faces about as well as humans do, and other scientists pushed back hard on exactly that line. They argued the tasks weren't really equivalent, and that on a fair comparison, human accuracy is far higher. The right to push. Sheep are not little people in wool. But notice what survives the argument. Strip away the flattering headline, and the quieter finding is still standing. An animal we treat as furniture is running a real identity check on a human face. The debate was never whether the sheep can do it, only how impressive we're allowed to call it. If the sheep surprised you, the dog will unsettle you in the opposite direction, because here, the thing you were sure of turns out to be more fragile than you assumed. Of course your dog knows your face. Show a dog a photograph of its owner beside a photograph of a stranger, and it goes to the owner. Track its eyes, and you'll see it do something tender and familiar. It lingers on the eyes, the same place we look when we want to know who someone is. There is even a patch of tissue in a dog's brain that lights up more for faces than for objects' actual wiring. Set aside for this. You are not imagining the bond. But here is where the floor tilts. Take that same face and hide its outline, cover the hairline, the silhouette, the shape of the head, and leave only what's inside. The eyes, the nose, the mouth. The features you'd swear your dog reads. And most dogs fall apart. In one test, only about 1 in 5 could still tell their own owner from a stranger. Sit with what that means. The thing your dog may be holding on to isn't your face the way you picture your face. It's leaning hard on your outline, your shape against the light, the rough silhouette of you in a doorway. That's not less love. It's a different machine doing the loving, built from different parts than yours. And it was never the machine you assumed. So far, these are animals close to us. Animals we feed. Now go outside to something wild that owes you nothing. A few years ago, a researcher in Seattle pulled on a rubber mask, trapped a handful of wild crows, banded them, and let them go unharmed. Routine science until weeks later, crows started dive bombing and scolding anyone wearing that mask. Not a different mask. That one. The face that had meant danger, and it did not fade. The crows held that face for years. The zone of angry birds spread outward across the city. Then came the part that turns a fun fact into something colder. Crows that had never been there, that never saw the trapping, joined the mob too. They learned the dangerous face by watching other crows react to it. The warning passed bird to bird, parent to young, through a wild population about one specific human face, which means there can be crows near you right now who have never met you, already primed by other crows on whether you are safe. A whole local population quietly keeping a file. Be careful how you hold this though, because the easy version is wrong. This is not a grudge in the way you'd hold a grudge. The crow is not brooding over you between sightings. And crows do not hate people. The same birds keep positive files on the humans who feed them gently. And the overwhelming majority of us walk past crows our whole lives and trigger nothing at all. What the crow is running is colder and more practical than hatred. A learned note that says this face. Watch it. One researcher once joked that crows would pick a wanted man out of a crowd, a vivid line, not a tested claim. But strip the joke away and the real finding is heavier than the joke. A wild animal, with a brain that has no neocortex at all, built to do none of this, decided your face was worth remembering, and told its neighbors. Here is a layer most people never think to look for, because it happens somewhere you can't see, not in behavior, but in the body. Take a horse, untrained, show nothing but a photograph. A still human face. When that face is angry, something shifts before the horse decides a single thing. It turns to look with the eye wired to the brain's threat side, and its heart rate climbs faster than it does for a happy face. A photograph. No voice, no raised hand, no movement. Just a still image of a human expression, and the animal's heart answers within seconds, the way a body answers a thing it has read as a warning. And it isn't only the animals we romance. We tell ourselves that dogs and horses read us because they were made to love us, bred across thousands of years for the bond. So, look at the goat. Bred for milk and meat, and not much tenderness. Show a goat 2 photos of the same stranger, one smiling, one angry, and the goat drifts to the smile, approaches it first, lingers on it longer, leans toward the happy face. Now hold the honest line, because it's easy to overshoot here. None of this proves the horse feels fear or the goat likes you the way you'd mean those words. Approaching a happy face over an angry one can be plain approach and avoid, learned over a life of being handled. Even the scientists can't fully separate what's inborn from what's learned. But notice the door that leaves open. Whatever the inner experience is, or isn't, your expression reached inside these animals far enough to move a heartbeat. Even the ones we only ever bred for the barn. Everything so far has quietly leaned on the same comforting idea that recognizing your face is a sign of closeness. Smart animals, bonded animals, animals near us. The last one breaks that idea in half. In a lab, researchers showed a fish 2 human faces and trained it to spit a jet of water at one of them. An archer fish, a small thing in a tank, no neocortex, no history with people, no reason in its entire evolution to tell one human from another. It learned the face anyway. Then they made it brutally hard. They buried that face in a crowd of strangers, dozens of them, and stripped out the easy cues, the hair, the head shape, the color, and the fish still picked the right face. Around 8 times out of 10. Let that land all the way. The animal that may read your face most precisely of any on this list is a fish that has never liked you, never bonded with you, never will. Which tells us something we didn't want to hear. Recognizing a human face is not the rare crown of intelligence and love we made it out to be. It is an old, widespread, almost humble skill, a kind of visual arithmetic that runs in brains nothing like ours, in animals that feel nothing toward us at all. The fish is here for exactly one reason, to pull recognition and relationship apart, because we had quietly glued them together, and they were never the same thing. So go back to the assumption we started with, that we are the watchers, and the animals are just shapes that don't really see us. Pull it apart, and what's left is stranger and humbler than the bond we imagined. Your face has been filed away in more places than you knew. A sheep can carry it across angles. A dog holds onto the shape of you in a doorway. A crow can flag it as safe or dangerous and tell its neighbors. A horse's heart can quicken at the look on it. A goat leans toward it when it smiles. A fish with no cortex can find it in a crowd. And here is the line we have to keep honest, because it's the whole truth of it. Every one of those is recognition measurable, real, with weight in the body and consequence in the behavior. None of it is proof of what we most want it to be. We cannot open any of these animals and find you in there a sense of you as a person with a name and a history, someone they think about, someone they miss. What we can measure is that your face is information they store and act on. What it feels like on their side of the gaze, whether it feels like anything, is the one thing all of this still cannot tell us. But that uncertainty is not a letdown. It's the strangest gift in the whole story. The next time a dog's eyes find yours, or a goat watches you cross a field, or a crow goes quiet as you pass beneath the wire, something specific is happening. Not generic animal awareness. A particular face yours checked against a particular memory. We built a whole mythology of loyalty and love out of being recognized. The deeper truth is quieter. Being known by another species says less about how special you are to that one animal and more about how ancient and ordinary and widespread the act of reading a face turns out to be. You were never just watching them. Something was always quietly keeping track of you too. So I'll leave you with the question I can't stop turning over. Somewhere out there is an animal that has your face stored away, and we genuinely do not know what, if anything, that means to it. Maybe nothing. Maybe a quiet, safe one. Maybe just that face. Watch it. Has an animal ever made you feel recognized? A crow that seemed to clock you? A creature that knew you before you understood how it could? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. I'll see you in the next one.